Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Microdose. Get out of pain, get out of anxiety, and start treating yourself a little bit better. Try Microdose. Microdose is a CBD THC gummy that will get you out of pain, get you out of anxiety, and get you into feeling good again. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. Welcome into the Wednesday edition of Darkness Radio, the best in paranormal podcasting. I'm Tim Dennis. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday. That means only one thing. We need a co-host for this thing, and we're going to bring in the co-host with the most, the BCB, the big cuddly bear, Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, how you doing?
I'm back, baby.
That's right. You're back. Back from the land of big sweaty men and gorgeous women who love to beat on each other. Of course, we're talking about WrestleCade weekend, which
so much fun and exhausting at the same time.
It looked like it was fun, man. I saw the pictures, I saw videos, I just live vicariously through you. I can't even get the words out. I'm so excited. Vicariously through you for the entire weekend through just seeing other people's pictures and seeing videos from the event. It looked like a lot of fun.
It was, and I love doing cons like that because whether it be a wrestling con or a Comic Con or a paranormal con, it's great because you see all these people that normally wouldn't be hanging out in one place, and they all have the similar likeness. And I got to meet a couple listeners, which is really cool. Mrs. Bruiser also put the Darkness Radio stuff on my table, so we got hopefully some new listeners.
Very awesome.
Because they stopped by and were curious.
Cool.
And it was fun to see, man. It was really good to see.
Yeah, and welcome aboard if you're listening off that. And thank you, Mrs. Bruiser, by the way, for doing that. She is the ultimate marketing whiz, so we want to thank Mrs. Bruiser for that. And thank you if you notice that on Bruiser's table, you decided to give us a listen. We greatly appreciate it. If you hear the show and decide you would like to, give us a 5-star review either on iTunes or Spotify or wherever it is you're listening to the show. Bruiser, interestingly enough, I had a brain fart, 1. 2, I want to mention to people, I know you're a little humble to mention this, but I want to mention to people that for the holidays, if you want to give people the gift of BCB, the gift of a big cuddly bear, maybe you know somebody who's got a little crush on the BCB, if you know what I mean, want to give them the gift of BCB. It's real simple. You go to Cameo, folks.
That's right.
Go to Cameo.
Go to Cameo. You can book me. I've done it all on Cameo. I love being on Cameo. I've named babies.
Really?
I've given names for babies. I've helped senators win Senate races.
Nice.
That was interesting because I'm not a political guy. I don't get into politics. You and I we don't discuss politics on the show. Mm-hmm. And so when I got the request for a shout out to the senator, of course I had to look it up because I didn't want to, it's such a fine line. Mm-hmm. So Mrs. Bruiser and I looked it up and we're like, oh yeah, we can do this. I've done gender reveals where I've revealed the gender of babies, and then I just do the normal smack talking if people want that. And it's just fun. It's great to hear what these people want from Cameos, and I appreciate that they want me to be a part of their lives.
Absolutely.
So there's a sale going on Friday. It's a 1-day sale. You get a bunch off, and I'll have them done within 24 hours.
Nice.
And this weekend I'm actually going to be with Brian Malonis, so I usually throw, if I have somebody cool around me, I'll throw them in the Cameo too.
Very nice.
Say hello.
Very nice. So there you go. So take advantage of the 1-day sale on Cameo. Yeah. You might get a little Brian Malonis action in there, maybe if he's around. And take advantage because the holidays are coming up. So take advantage for birthdays, for anniversaries, for gender reveals, for any occasion.
For anything. The last two I've done too. Ziggy Starpup's been in. So if you want to see Ziggy, yeah.
Wow.
She's always been my sidekick. But yeah, I've had Bruiser in with me. I've had Ziggy with me. People wanted to see Mrs. Bruiser and I together. It's whatever they want, we'll do it.
Nice. There you go. So check out Beer City Bruiser on Cameo for whatever gift giving needs you need. So There you go. Nice and easy. A couple other things to mention here. The other thing I wanted to mention is our good friends over there at Granite City Comics in St. Cloud, Minnesota, have quite the deal for you guys. If you collect comics, if you're a Walking Dead fan, you know The Walking Dead wrapped up 2 weekends ago on AMC. That series is done. There's going to be a bunch of spin-off series. You've got the Rick and Michonne series that's coming up. You've got Dead City coming up.
You have a Negan series too, right?
Yeah, that's the Negan series.
Okay.
Negan and
Maggie,
right? That's the other. That's that series. And then you have a Daryl Dixon series that's coming out where he's in France. It was originally supposed to be Daryl Dixon and Carol, but the lady who plays Carol decided to bow out because of location issues and things like that. So you've got those 3 series that are coming out. So kind of.
And if you're a comic book fan, Daryl Dixon wasn't in the comics till the show came out.
Right.
He became such a popular TV character, they threw him in the comics.
That's right. So there's we're doing a little bit of a celebration of this new chapter of Walking Dead, and what we're doing in conjunction with Granite City Comics is we're offering a special. Now, a little backstory here for you, Bruiser. We'll make it short and sweet. When The Walking Dead #1 came out, Granite City Comics did a retailer variant. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with comics, there's a variant for every #1 issue. There's a variant for special issues where you might have 14 different covers, or you might have, that's pretty popular these days, to have different artists draw the cover, a variant cover for different issues.
And then you get the foil covers, and then you get the chrome covers.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Any type of variant cover for any type of issue. Well, for The Walking Dead, they offered retailer variants. So an individual retailer could have their own variant of that #1 issue. Granite City Comics was offered their own variant, #1 of The Walking Dead. Now, this is an original #1 of The Walking Dead. It's not a reprint. It's an original #1 and the Granite City Comics variant. So there's only 500 in existence. All right.
And it's hard to get a #1 Walking Dead anywhere right now.
It is. It's almost impossible to find. We're going to give you a little bit of a deal. Are you ready for this? Just because you are a Darkness Radio listener, and I'm not putting it online. It's just from our lips to your ears. And we'll put a link in the description of the show. If you're not sure how to get a hold of it again and you don't get it out of the description of the show, you can contact me by social media, or you can contact me by email, and I'll send you the link. But we're going to keep it on the hush-hush. Because you are a listener of the show, we want to get you in on the deal first. You go to granitecitycomics.com, and you can get this retailer variant, near mint condition, for $5.
Ooh.
$5, Bruiser.
For a #1?
For a #1, Walking Dead #1 retailer variant.
That's a hell of a deal.
And there's only 500 of them out there.
Yeah, I've spent a lot more on #1 variants.
Now, here's the deal. You get a brand new comic out there, and some comics, brand new off the shelf, are going for $5.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, inflation killed the comics,
Yeah. The comics are expensive these days.
They are. They're not like they used to be.
So to get a comic that's, what is it, 12 years old now? 13 years old?
13 or 14, I think.
Yeah, for $5. That's a heck of a deal.
And for people that aren't comic book fans, owning a #1 variant and having a #1 variant in your collection brings value to your collection.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I'm guilty. Tim, you're probably guilty. Mm-hmm. We try to get as many variant covers as possible because you never know which one's going to hit or miss.
That's right. So we're gonna put up the link in the description of the show to get you to Granite City Comics, so you can get that retailer variant of The Walking Dead. Now, there's limited numbers of these. So, folks, it's first come, first serve. When they're out, they're out. So get it while you can. Again, limited number. Now, they started out with 500. I should mention, they've sold out well over 3/4 of these.
So there's very limited.
There's very limited numbers of these. So Tim over at Granite City Comics, and it's not me. I'm not telling you that I'm the guy behind this, but Tim is the guy that I go through over at Granite City Comics. I had asked him, I said, do you have any more of these? Because he had them on display in the store. And he said, well, yeah, I got a few of them left. And I said, would you give my listeners a deal if I asked real nicely? And he said, sure. So this is for a limited time only. Right before the holiday season. They make great gifts for that Walking Dead fan that you have in the family. Or maybe yourself, if you want to treat yourself before the holidays. So
they're also good white elephant gifts. They're good Secret Santa gifts, because normally with the Secret Santa or the white elephant, you have a price. You can't go.
Yep.
I know I've done comics for those, and people, there's a lot of comic book fans. And if you're a fan of the Walking Dead TV show, I recommend getting this, because the comic originally is completely different than the TV show.
Yep.
And you can see a lot of stuff where all your fan favorites are in the number one, but they don't all last through number one. So it's good to see how much A, the comic evolved, and B, to see how the show became its own little phenomenon.
Oh, that's this button right here.
Phenomenon.
Right. That's right. So we'll put that up in the description of the show. Go ahead and order some up and give them out as gifts or keep them for yourself. Again, supplies are limited, so go ahead and take advantage of that. Also want to recognize one other thing. As we're taping this show, it's Tuesday. I know, magic of podcasting. But yesterday, Kirstie Alley passed away. So we just want to send thoughts and prayers to her family and friends. It's a blow for everyone. I think, as we get older, I'd mentioned this on social media, in our social media. I believe it was a listener by the name of Tamara who had said, it seems like more and more celebrities are passing on, and it seems like it's quickening, like it's happening more and more. And I had mentioned something to her, like, I always thought that as you got older, it's just a thing where as you get older, the people you recognize pass away quicker and quicker. It's just a part of aging. But then I thought about it, and I'm thinking, no, you know what? People are passing away younger and younger.
But I didn't know she was 71.
Yes. Yeah.
She didn't look it, for one.
No, not at all.
And for two, I never thought she was that old. And I didn't know she had a lengthy battle with cancer.
It wasn't lengthy. It was a short battle.
It was a short battle. Okay,
yeah.
So it was a quick cancer. Okay, which is a horrible disease, and it's affected everyone in the world. Yeah. So my thoughts and prayers are her family. But I didn't know she was 71. She looked good for 71.
yeah, indeed. That's the other thing, too, is I think as we advance in science and as we advance in different parts of technology, we've also find ways to make ourselves a little more well preserved. Yeah. Even though we suffer with different ailments and we're passing away, I think science will tell you that we can live longer, but I don't think we're living as long as we can technically live. Yeah. Science will tell you, well, the average male now can live a life expectancy up to 83 years, but we're not reaching our capacity. In fact, I think a lot of males are dying younger than what we can reach. At least males. Females are exceeding it.
Well, that's because males are idiots and females aren't. You and I were discussing it off air. Yeah. If we could go back and tell our younger selves, hey, don't do that.
Very true. Very true. I think you're right, Bruiser. I think a lot of males think that, we can live forever. So we do a lot of stupid stuff.
I thought I was bulletproof until I turned 30. Yeah. And then I hit 30 and I tore my tricep, and that was my first serious injury, completely tore it off the bone. Ooh. And right after that, I tore my ACL, and then I started having injury upon injury. And I was like, maybe I'm not bulletproof. Maybe I'm not impervious. Because when you're young, you think you're Superman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I try to tell my kids, you know, especially my son who's serving our country and stuff. I said, don't be stupid with your body, you know, because you're going to be 40 years old and you're going to pay for it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And especially with the way that science has come about, where ways of working out and vitamins and, you know, just the different stuff you can do to help your wellness. Mm-hmm. You know, mental health is now being accepted where you can discuss mental health. That helps.
Yes. Yep.
You know, taking, you know, diseases in consideration like diabetes or cancer, you know, and how to prevent them and all that. That's all factored in, you know. Mm-hmm. So I try to tell my son, you know, treat your body like a temple.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Do what you can because you're going to be my age.
There are a lot of conditions today that would have killed us 50 to 60 years ago that we're living through and dealing with and getting a life expectancy of 20 to 30 years through. People are living through numerous bouts of cancer. They're living through heart disease. They're living through, as you mentioned, diabetes. They're living through a lot of these different chronic conditions that they would have been killers.
Yeah.
You know, 50 to 60 years ago, which is a modern miracle of science. And it's a modern miracle of a lot of different consortium of brains that got together and said, you know what, we can advance, we can get better, we can get stronger. And, thank God for it. That's one of the things that we can do as we really study the human body and realize that there's more potential to it. You know, there was an interesting, I'm trying to remember the book that I read. I think it was this past winter or spring that was talking about, well, you know, when you look in the Bible and they say somebody lived 400 or 500 years, how it was really the way they measured time, that maybe it wasn't 400 or 500 years as we measured it. Maybe it was more like 100 to 150 years. Mm. And how did they accomplish it, or how did it get to that point? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. And why are we not living to that potential now? Maybe there's so much more stress on us. Maybe there's so much more expectation upon us. Maybe it's what we're putting in our engines. You know, maybe it's the food we're putting in our engines. It's hard to tell, but you know, how do you unlock that potential to get back to that place? If that's what if that's what it is, it's a good question. You know, how do we get back to that place of being able to live to our full potential again is a good challenge, I guess.
Yeah. And we got to take that challenge on, you know, you got to think back then, Bible days, they didn't have a fast food, you know, chain on every corner. You couldn't, you know, if you had to eat, you had to go find food and you had to hunt it, and you had to, not saying that we should do that now, because with technology and stuff, like obviously our lives are better, but like we have to start thinking about what we are putting in our bodies, mm-hmm. You know, and what we are doing to stay active, you know?
True.
Learn from our ancestors, but also in both the positive and negative way, you know, because obviously they took more risks because they had to hunt, and it was either the lion kill them or they kill the lion type thing. So obviously we don't want people going out and hunting lions. You know what I mean?
True. Very true. Very true.
But, you know, put down your phone, get off your butt and go for a walk, you know, mm-hmm. Instead of going to the McDonald's, you know, go find that farmer and buy a cow from him or some meat, you know, some farm fresh eggs. Yep. There's little things we can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's jump into today's show. Some interesting stories today, Bruiser. We'll, of course, walk down that UFO aisle as we always do. We'll take it. Boy, AI has really popped its head up this week.
Yeah, it has.
Has it ever? There are some stories out there that will absolutely terrify you this week. We'll talk a little bit about, we're going to end the show today on a positive note of some sort. We're going to talk about psychic animals picking sporting events. As the World Cup is in full swing, we'll talk about how accurate these psychic animals are with FIFA picks. That's what we're going to talk about.
I'm excited to see what these psychic animals can predict.
I always love these stories that when we get into major sporting events about psychic animals and how accurate they can actually be. But so that's how we'll end today's show. But first, let's talk about the Portland Cryptozoology Museum. It's nearing its move to Bangor, Maine. The museum director points to rising rents and limitations of being near other growing businesses in Portland for the move north. I bet you didn't know that was a problem with a cryptid museum.
I didn't. I didn't know there was a cryptid museum. I would have visited.
I'm learning something new every day, my friend. Cryptozoology is the study, of course, of hidden or unknown animals. Believe it or not, Maine is the home to a rare collection dedicated to this field of study. For almost 20 years, Portland's International Cryptozoology Museum has been one of the few places where you can meet Bigfoot, sea serpents, and Mothman under one roof. In general, people come to the museum because they're interested in two things: mysteries and animals. Lauren Coleman, who's the director of the International Cryptozoology Museum, told News Center, Maine. Mysteries and animals are something Coleman's museum has plenty of. Lots of Bigfoot because people love Bigfoot, Yetis, and as well as sea serpents, lake monsters, Coleman explained. We have 65 years of different cryptids from all over the country. Recently, Coleman announced that he would be moving his entire operation to Bangor after pointing to rising rents and limitations of nearby growing businesses in Portland. A lot of people probably think I'm crazy, he went on to say. Well, the museum may speak for itself there, Lauren. I'm not sure. But we really think we'll be unique wherever we move to, Coleman said. Words is hard this time of day, Bruiser. Earlier this year, Coleman opened a bookstore and museum in Bangor. He said it is a separate operation from the new museum he plans to open in the area. If we get the building we're trying to get, which is a streamlined modern, it will get architecturally into a whole other level of acceleration, he explained. I'm talking to some secret sources about renovating it. Hopefully it's not Bigfoot. Yeah. Getting some grants, and that could be a lot of fun. He expects to open the new museum in 2023 or early 2024. Coleman added he plans to close his museum in Portland sometime at the end of 2025 or early 2026, which is when his lease ends there. You pointed it out yourself, Bruiser. You were unaware of that museum. I know, unless you're really into cryptids or you really have an awareness of what it is that Lauren Coleman's doing, a lot of people aren't familiar.
I am really into cryptids. Like, I know about the Mothman Museum. I know about the Bigfoot Museum. Mm-hmm. I know about the Alien Museum. And those are all in different states. Like, if I would have known there was a cryptid museum, well, hell, I would have visited. I wrestled in Maine. I would have loved going there. So check it out, see what he's got.
Now that you know, is it something you'll check out if you're out that way?
Oh, for sure. Yep. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's on my list. I love museums. I think museums are fantastic. I love history. Mm-hmm. And then you add in the cryptids. Throw a little Bigfoot in there, throw a little Loch Ness, some whale dick. I'm all in.
Some whale dick. Yeah, that's no way to talk about Nessie.
Every time I see they find a new sea monster, right away I go back to that meme.
Want to remind people, not about whale dick, but I want to remind people tomorrow's show, we're doing a tribute show to Linda Godfrey, who is was the lady who was the originator of the articles about the Beast of Bray Road and eventually the book on Beast of Bray Road. We're doing a tribute show to Linda tomorrow. Our guest is Jay Bachochin. He's also going to bring on Lee Hampel and Sanjay Singhal. All three of them, of course, sat under the learning tree of Linda, and Linda was a mentor to all three of them. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about Jay's two movies, which are on Amazon Prime right now, Finding Jay and Finding Jay 2. So that'll be on tomorrow's show. Whale dick.
Well, the Beast of Bray Road is not a whale dick.
No.
I guarantee that.
I think it's a little more fierce than whale dick, although I've never been around a lot of whale dick to tell you whether whale dick or Beast of Bray Road is more ferocious, one or the other.
I've been on Bray Road many, many, many times, and I have not seen a whale dick there.
Oh, good. Thank you.
But then again, I haven't seen the Beast of Bray Road either.
Okay, so really,
I've been there all times of the year, all different times of day and night. Anytime I do a road trip up by your neck of the woods, I'd always make sure I take a detour to Bray Road.
Well, that's good. I hope to God you don't have any encounters with whale dick anytime soon.
I'm curious now. I want to see if it looks like a sea monster.
I'm sure there's got
Bruiser wants to go on a cruise. I'll say, hey, yeah, let's do this cruise. And then when I'm looking over, what are you looking for? Oh, trying to get some whale dick.
So you want to see it in person. Watching any of the National Geographic stuff on Disney Plus isn't going to work.
I got to see
you.
it up close and personal.
Even if you see it like in 1080p or 4K on HDR on your Apple TV or whatever, that's not good enough. You've got to have.
No, because then I can mistake it for sea monster. If I see it with my own two eyes and I know what a whale dick looks like when I visit Loch Ness or what's the one up in New York there, and I see the sea monster. If I've seen a whale dick with my own two eyes and I see the sail monster, I can go, well, that doesn't look like whale penis. So I can debunk the whale dick theory.
Can I invite you over to watch the 8K TV and maybe you get a little bit sharper image so you know for sure?
I need to see it live and in color first.
Okay. All right. For me to see it in 8K, I think I'm okay. I got the Samsung 8K TV here at the crib.
I'd be fine going to an aquarium and seeing it, but there's not, there's not a lot of whales in aquariums.
That kind of feels a little peep showish, like maybe you should drop quarters into a box and the little thing slides open and then there's the whale with the dick.
Maybe I can pull some of my quasi-celebrity and they let me feed the whales. And so then I'm,
Oh, there you go.
I'm tempting them. You know what I mean?
Oh, look at you.
Because how do we know, is a blue whale, does his dick look different than a sperm whale? Does a sperm whale's dick look different than a killer whale? You know what I mean? So like at an aquarium, I can ask these and not be creepy.
So now it's a whale dick measuring contest?
Well, if you look at a picture of Nessie, it looks completely different than, like I said, the one in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
so,
true. Yeah.
How do we know one's not a humpback whale and one's not a blue whale?
Did you ever notice half of these whales have kind of suggestive names anyways?
Oh, yeah. Sperm whale? Come on.
Humpback whale? Yeah, that's true.
You heard why the ocean's salty, right?
Why is that?
Because a whale, to get another whale pregnant, just release the sperm in the sea and then the whale's got to swim through it.
Can you imagine getting a face full of whale if you're just an average fish swimming by?
Like, oh, come on, man, I'm just swimming here.
Whale cocky right there, psh, right in the face.
What if you were like a National Geographic cameraman? Is that like, is that technically the quote unquote money shot for you? I see what you did there. Oh, that's just, you get pulled up out of the ocean and you're just dripping in nothing but sea salt and sperm from a whale. Sperm whale sperm.
Sperm whale sperm. Yeah. Anyways, let's get off the subject. I know the whale did. Let's move on. Declassified CIA documents show that they saw an alien, or actually an ancient civilization on Mars. Even though there has never been a manned mission to Mars, back in 1984, the CIA found a different way to explore the red planet. According to documents declassified thanks to the Freedom of Information Acts, the CIA, or the Central Intelligence Agency, for you and I who don't understand what those little letters mean, used a remote viewer to see what was on Mars 1 million years ago, and what they discovered is mind-blowing, if you can believe it. I'll try to believe it. Back in 1984, the CIA used a psychic known as a remote viewer. Now, we need to cleave this aside because this was written by a layman. Remote viewers and psychics are not the same thing.
Okay.
A remote viewer is not necessarily psychic, and psychics are not necessarily remote viewers.
Okay.
You can be a remote viewer without being psychic.
That's the astral plane, right? What a remote viewer is?
No. According to the remote viewer program, you don't have to have a psychic bone in your body to remote view.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they train you to do it.
Oh, okay.
So anyone can do it. A psychic is a different gift.
Right. That's
right.
Either natural or supernatural, if you want to go there.
Technically, this article is inaccurate.
They're lumping them all together.
That's right. We'll just ignore that one line there. They said to focus their mind on a location at a time and describe what they saw. The transcript of what the person witnessed on Mars a million years back was part of a large document dump. While the papers don't explain why the CIA wanted to see what Mars looked like a million years ago, they do show what the psychic, the remote viewer saw in civilization. The remote viewer, whose name is redacted, said, I kind of got an oblique view of pyramid form. It's very high. It's kind of sitting in a large depressed area. I'm tracking severe clouds, more like dust storms. I'm looking at an after effect of a major geologic problem. I just keep seeing very large people. They appear thin and tall, but they're very large, wearing some kind of clothes. Well, thank God they're wearing clothes.
Yeah. That could have gotten creepy really quick.
It could have. He or she then described structures that they were seeing. Here's their quote. Deep inside of a cavern, not of a cavern, more like a canyon. I'm looking up the sides of a steep wall that seemed to go on forever. And there's like a structure. It's like the wall of a canyon has been carved. Again, I'm getting a very large structure or structures, huge sections of smooth stone. It's like a rabbit warren. Rabbit warren. That's like rabbit like bunny rabbit and warren like Warren Moon. That's a weird, I don't know what a rabbit.
It's a weird
warren
description.
Is. Yeah. Corners of rooms. They're really huge. Perception is that the ceiling is very high, walls very wide. They have appears to be the very end of a very large road, and there's a marker thing that's very large. Keep getting Washington Monument overlay. It's like an obelisk. Sea pyramids. They're very huge. It's filtered from storms or something. They're like shelters from storms, different chambers, but they're almost stripped of any kind of furnishings or anything. It's like a strictly functional place for sleeping, or that's not a good word, hibernations, some form of, I get real raw inputs, storms, savage storms, and sleeping through storms. They're ancient people. They're dying. It's past their time or age. They're very philosophic about it. They're just looking for a way to survive, and they can't. They are evidently was a group or party of them that went to find a new place to live. It's like I'm getting all kinds of overwhelming input of the corruption of their environment. It's failing very rapidly, and this group went somewhere, like a long way to find another place to live. And that's the quote from the remote viewer. Perhaps this means that the ancient people somehow made their way to Earth. That's what this article says. The strangest part of it all, when the psychic was told what to think about and when, they weren't directly instructed to envision Mars 1 million years ago. Instead, they were given a sealed envelope that held a card that read, "The planet Mars, time of interest approximately 1 million years BC." Even though they had no idea what the card said, this is what the remote viewer saw after just holding that sealed envelope. So there you go.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I just learned that a remote viewer is different than a psychic. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I always put them hand in hand.
No, it's when you see the movie. Remember the movie about the fainting goats? George Clooney was in it.
Oh, yeah. Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yeah, Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yeah, that's them training the remote viewers, isn't it?
Right. We interviewed quite a while back, quite a few years back. We interviewed the people who were involved in that project and the author of that book. And the idea is that any layman can train to remote view. In fact, you and I can go into a class tomorrow and learn how to remote view.
Okay.
We don't have to have a psychic bone in our body. We can resist in any way psychic training. You don't have to be psychic to be a remote viewer. Having a psychic gift is different than being able to remote view.
Okay.
And that's the way I've always been explained it. In fact, I probably myself interviewed 3 or 4 different people on the subject that have been involved in the remote viewing program, either directly or indirectly with the CIA.
Okay.
And they've all said the same thing. You don't have to be psychic to do remote viewing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can be trained.
Yes, you can be trained.
It can be taught.
Yep. Absolutely. It's 100%
Where normally
teachable.
psychic abilities are natural, and you can be trained in psychic abilities, but you have to have something within you.
Yeah. The way it's always been conveyed to me is remote viewing is instinctual.
Okay.
Whereas a psychic ability is more of a gift.
Right.
So, you know how it's almost like remote viewing is like your GPS.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Gotcha.
very much like that. It's just an extension of your navigation system.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's almost ingrained, inbred in you. And that's just how it is. And all they're doing is bringing that out of you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an interesting deal. And maybe we'll try to get another expert in remote viewing back on the show, because it's been a while since we've done a remote viewing show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting topic, because it has been debated that there isn't some sort of psychic presence in remote viewing. But once you hear it directly from somebody who has engaged in remote viewing, they'll tell you that there's no psychic sense to it whatsoever.
That's interesting. I'd be curious to hear more on that.
Yeah.
I've got research to do. Thank you, Tim.
You're very welcome. Speaking of the CIA, I know you've probably heard of former CIA agent Cooper, or Cooper as they call him, Area 51 deathbed confession. This came out quite a few years ago. Mm-hmm. But that tape is now resurfacing on YouTube.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I may put up the link to this video, because it's 21 minutes long. It's too long for us to play here on the show. But a 2013 interview with a former CIA agent who claimed to have had intimate knowledge of Area 51 has been doing the rounds this week. At the time, the 77-year-old, who went by the name Agent Cooper, spelled K-E-W-P-E-R, or Cooper, or simply the Anonymous, had agreed to an interview with UFO researcher Richard Dolan and documentary maker Jeremy Corbell in what was described as a deathbed confession of what he knew about what was going on at Area 51. He had previously given an interview with journalist Linda Moulton Howe in 1998, who recorded 11 hours of audio tapes, but afterwards he was warned by the CIA not to divulge anything else. He also only agreed to the 2013 interview because he was dying and felt he had nothing left to lose. During the session, he claimed that the extraterrestrial visitors were real, that the base was housing a number of alien vehicles, and that he had once been taken there himself to examine a number of artifacts, including the saucer that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. He even went so far as to say that there were live aliens being kept at the base's S4 facility. It took us 13 or 15 miles south to S4, and like different garage door openings, and in these garage door openings, they had like different saucer crafts, he went on to say. The very first one had the Roswell craft, and it was kind of crashed up, but apparently every alien that was in it died except for a couple. The Roswell craft was really strange because it looked like really heavy aluminum foil. We could walk next to it, and the whole thing probably weighed 150 to 300 pounds.
Oh, wow. Real lightweight.
Yeah. At S4, we viewed the autopsy film, and then the colonel said that, or what we've got in here is we're interviewing a gray alien. Interesting. We had no idea what we're going to, or he said, we had no idea we were going to see the real thing. All we saw was the film. It didn't look human as far as the skin tone and basically the shape of it and the size, how its head size compared with a normal human. Again, I'll put up the link for the video so you can watch Agent Cooper yourself and see the 21 minutes of additional deathbed confession film. He's not on his deathbed, obviously. He's in a recliner, but he felt he was near his end, so he had just a little bit more to say.
It'd be interesting to see all that because a lot of his stories, I'm assuming, will line up with the other stories that have come out about Area 51 from different people that either worked as like reverse engineers. Because that's what the thing was with was it SR4? I think you said that's where they reverse engineer all the alien technology.
Supposedly, yeah.
Supposedly.
Or allegedly, yeah. Allegedly.
Yes.
It's a better word to use. Yep.
Because we've heard that from numerous sources.
Yeah. Yep. Robbie Williams back in the news. I don't think he's really had a hit anywhere near England or America in quite some time, but says he's considered a career as a UFO hunter at one time after seeing one himself. That's right. Robbie Williams' career path almost took a strange turn, and he almost didn't bless us with his music. I say that with tongue in cheek.
I can't name one Robbie Williams song.
No?
No.
I'm trying really hard to remember his one hit over here in America. He had a bunch in England.
See, I can at least Tom DeLonge of Blink-182. I can at least name Blink-182 songs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, and he's a huge UFO person, so.
True. Very true. But yeah, it's hard to name one Robbie Williams song. The pop star who rose to fame as part of the boy band Take That. You remember that one?
Nope.
Okay. Has long held a keen interest in UFOs and the unexplained. He was speaking on the Sean Atwood podcast recently. Williams, whose interest in the UFO phenomena needs a little introduction, it says here. Maybe to American fans, he would. Yeah. Confessed that he had even considered giving up his career as a successful solo artist. I think that would be pretty much an easy decision to make. Yeah.
That's in quotes, right? Successful.
No, it just, they threw it out there to see if we wouldn't chuckle. To pursue his passion for all things unexplained. The only thing that stopped him was what he believed to be the inevitable embarrassing and degrading reaction of the press if he should have come out as a tinfoil hat sort of person.
Hey, it worked really well for Tom DeLonge and Blink-182. Because he's the one, if you think about it, he's the one that got the Navy to share all those videos.
Yeah, and he was...
You know what I mean? Like, and his music was still successful. Like, Blink-182, they're on tour right now. You know, like... Yeah. You have to say they were a pretty successful band, even with all of his UFO talk.
But Tom DeLonge also formed a successful organization that helped make some movement in the UFO community. Robbie Williams just walks around talking about Robbie Williams.
He's the only one talking about Robbie
Exactly,
Williams.
Yeah. It's not like his publicist even talks about him.
His publicist is like, oh, yeah, he's my client. Who?
Robbie Williams?
Oh, yeah, the UFO guy, right?
You mean mean Robin Williams? No. Robbie Williams? Robin Williams? No, Robbie Williams. Even so, this hasn't stopped him from pursuing the topic as a hobby over the last 2 decades. You could tell he's been real busy.
Yep.
Much of his interest in UFOs stems from personal experience that occurred 17 years ago, and he's still talking about it. My first
guy just won't get over it.
That's right. My first proper experience, he says, goes back to the Beverly Hills Hotel. He recalled there might have been some white powder involved. I'm with a young lady, he said. It was over 17 years ago. So he was with a young lady, but the UFO was the only thing he could pay attention to. Because I've been with my wife for 17 years, he said, and we were on 2 hotel loungers in my room in the garden looking up at the stars, and all of a sudden, silently over our heads, what I can only describe as a square object, I would say probably the size of 1.5 penalty boxes. That's how he measures things, in penalty boxes?
Yeah. Like, okay, what kind of penalty boxes? Are we talking hockey? Are we talking soccer?
Probably soccer, yeah.
I don't know how big those are. Do you?
No, I have no clue. He said it was matte black with Artexing underneath and then hacienda-style yellow and black stripes. Boy, this guy is colorful when it comes to descriptions.
Yeah. He forgot to mention the acid he dropped.
Yeah.
Or the shrooms that they'd eaten.
Yep. He says, as if it was this workman's thing. It came.
A workman's thing? What?
Yeah. Let me read it all together so you can get the full picture again.
Like, hey, we got to do some construction on the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Right.
Did you put the cones out? Okay, good.
Yeah, he was probably so high he didn't realize it was workman. Let me read it again. He said it was matte black with Artexing underneath and then hacienda-style yellow with black stripes, as if it was this workman's thing. Okay. It came in silently. I could have hit it with a tennis ball and then it floated off. I was totally and utterly sober. Sure you were, Robbie. Sure you were. Surprisingly, Williams doesn't necessarily believe that UFOs are alien in origin. Instead of, let's see here, he took my deal. Instead favoring a government black project's explanation for the phenomena. I bet. Robbie.
The alien went, hey, look, Robbie Williams. And the other one went, who?
Why does he think we're yellow and black and are texting?
Why is he handing us a work order? We're not here to work.
I ain't picking up that hammer. Do your own renovations, Robbie Williams.
Yeah. I suppose it's time to take that break.
All right.
I need to...
We'll have to figure out who Robbie Williams is.
I need to throw bleach in my eyes and get rid of this vision of Robbie Williams in my head. When we come back, it's AI, which sounds like a polka yell, doesn't it? E-I-E-I-E-I-O. We're going to talk about how AI might have actually helped one young girl who lost an eye in a car accident, but it will soon become her master.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always a negative side to AI in my book.
There's only negative sides in AI in my book. That's why I'm sick that's the biggest fad on social media right now is posting all your AI pictures.
Oh, that's true. Boy, you're right about that. A woman actually has gotten to know her past by talking to AI. Is AI tricking her? We'll talk about a story we talked about yesterday. Yes, it's true, folks. San Francisco has decided to use robots to destroy you.
Killer robots.
Robots in the police force over there in San Francisco. There is a home in, I believe it is in the UK, that's the most exorcised home ever, and it's torn a family apart and destroyed a woman's husband. We'll talk about that too. And psychic animals predicting the World Cup. That's how we're going to end today's show. Plus, your Parashare stories.
Yes, we got some, don't we?
We've got some today, so we're going to talk about that as well. It's all coming up right here on a Supernatural News Wednesday on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio on a Supernatural News Wednesday. It's the Cruiser and the Bruiser. Timmy D and Beer City Bruiser. Guess what, Bruiser?
What?
We got us some Parashare stories.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to these.
Yeah, there's quite a few here too.
So the listeners are coming through for us.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, they are.
They always do. We have great listeners.
Yes, we do, and we have them. We have them in spades. That's for sure. You know what? If you want to send us, first of all, if you want to send us a Parashare story, you got two ways you can do it. One, you can send us one the old-fashioned way. Send your email to tim@darknessradio.com. It'll end up in the old email box. We'll read them right here on the air. Second way you can do it, go to darknessradioshow.com. There's this little floaty blue button on the right-hand side. If you just click that, you can leave us an audio story. You've got a 2-minute window in which to leave your story. If you can't leave it in 2 minutes, click that blue button again, leave another 2 minutes, and we'll just stitch them together and we'll play them right here on the air. So that's the other way you can do it. Let's see here. Ryan has a story here. It says, hello, Tim, BCB, and crew. Been trying to figure out where to start with my story, so I'll start with one from my life in the funeral business. I left this job about a year after 17 and a half years. Holy cow, that's a long time.
That's a long time, yeah.
I mainly cut headstones, around 325 plus stones in a year, in a haunted shop nonetheless. But I also took funerals as well. I was literally the last person to see you in this mortal world. Boy, that's not creepy, Ryan.
I was going to say, that's nightmare fuel right there.
Yeah. And trust me, after I got done sealing the casket in those concrete vaults, no zombies are getting out, LOL. So bets on AI. Thank you for that, Ryan. I appreciate that. Thank you for sealing that one once and for all. One of my best ghost stories happened in Falls City, Nebraska. My wife came to me to keep me company on a cold Saturday afternoon funeral. I just finished the funeral setup, and parked the vault truck down the hill by the sexton's garage. I left the truck and went to change into my good clothes in the garage. My wife was watching the setup. She was my eyes to let me know to hurry if cars would start to show up. As she gazed up the hill at the setup, her eyes got fixed on a man at the tent, a man in a gray suit walking around it, checking the straps, adjusting chairs, and then after a bit, he went behind the shade wall of the tent and she lost sight of him. She assumed it was me back at the tent. My uniform for funerals was a nice gray jacket and slacks when we would help guide the casket onto the stands in front of the family. So needless to say, when I got back in the truck, she turned a bit pale. I looked at her and asked, "What's wrong with you?" She said, I thought I saw you at the tent," she stuttered. "Nope, just finished changing. Why?" She then told me about what she saw. I said, "We are the only people here. If not, the sexton would have called me since he was sitting by the highway waiting for the funeral." So I went up there and found no one there. About 15 minutes later, the funeral arrived. I set the casket on the stands above the vault, went back to the truck, and proceeded to tell my wife she must have saw a ghost. A full non-believer, she wouldn't accept that. Still thought it was a random person in the cemetery. I didn't have the heart to let her know, but no one at the funeral was wearing a gray suit except the man in the casket.
Oh.
Yeah. Ryan says, "I knew this because I had to help the director reopen the casket for one last viewing."
Oh.
Well, I hate to keep you hanging, but I'll write in soon with more. Stay safe, guys, and thanks for the great shows. And BCB, when you're close to the north central Kansas area again, my daughter, a big fan of the show, and I will come out to watch. Ironically, my favorite wrestler was The Undertaker growing up. Go figure. Your dedicated listener in Kansas, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, Ryan, to give you a little Undertaker knowledge, Paul Bearer was actually a certified mortician.
There you go.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
He's got to have tons of stories working in that field for as long as he did.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
I've always wanted to talk to somebody like a funeral director or an embalmer or somebody like him, because they've got stories. They have to. Mm-hmm. Like, just being in that field, like not necessarily haunted stories, but just creepy stories.
Yeah, I would think too that you develop a little bit of a supernatural callus though too. Like, you see things and maybe you're not one to jump. It's just like, oh, there they are. Yeah. Whereas if you're just kind of a layman and you see something like that, you'd be a little more freaked out than most.
And it makes sense if it was the spirit of the person in the casket. They're getting everything ready because they want everything to be perfect.
Okay, but you and I have talked about this before. Bone soup.
Yes.
So you're standing near your graveside and you're looking at the hole in which your body's going to go into. Are you not freaked the fuck out at that point?
I would be, but think about it too. We've also heard from numerous people that people hang around. Your energy hangs around to make sure the funeral goes good, to people who see who attends and whatnot. So maybe you look past that in your spirit world and almost if you've come to terms that you're passed away. You know what I mean? You almost come to terms like, okay, this is my eternal resting place for my physical body.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not in my physical presence anymore.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's one to bring Marianne Winkowski back onto the show and ask her about, because to me, and we
don't know what you're feeling when they're, because you could be at a sense of calmness because when you pass, maybe something calms you enough that you're able to process that to cross over to whatever the other side is.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's the reason I don't go to cemeteries all that often once the funeral is over. I
love going to cemetery. We got 3 of them right by us that are just, I think cemeteries are gorgeous. I've loved cemeteries ever since the movie The Crow, where he says the line where the girl goes, "Oh, I know you're not supposed to sleep in a cemetery at night." And he goes, "It's the safest place you can be because everybody's dead."
Yeah.
And I was always a creepy kid that would go hang out at cemeteries. And I love looking at the old gravestones and the time periods, from the 1800s, 1700s to now. And here in North Carolina, because we're out here where there's a lot of historical stuff, we've got 3 churches by us and they all have graveyards right in. In fact, there was a funeral the other day where they had a tent set up. So when you're reading the story in my head, I can see what he's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
And it's I enjoy going to a graveyard. I enjoy, Mrs. Bruiser and I both do. We like going and checking them out and
see. I like to go to cemeteries to see the history and to see how old some of the headstones are, and sometimes you can get a little bit of an idea of what people passed away from. Especially in olden times. But as far as going to see relatives at a cemetery, I guess what keeps me from going more often is that I know that their spirit isn't there. That's true. That's part of it,
Yeah, but I believe that the grave or the urn or whatever you're left in is there for the people on earth to remember you. Not saying that I don't remember people. Like I think of my father-in-law every single day, but like when we go back to Wisconsin, we're going to go to his gravesite. And visit his gravesite. We both know he's not there. Yeah. But it's still nice to go and it's very therapeutic for Mrs. Bruiser because she can talk, to something that is of him, knowing that his body is there. A
physical reminder to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got what you mean.
And I have the guy who started me in wrestling, Trevor, who we were talking about off air, who passed away. I have part of his ashes here in the house with me. Okay. And I talked to him, it's just, I think that's more for the living than it is for the dead.
I hear you. Yeah.
And I'll go visit my grandparents, and every time we do, he was speaking of Nebraska and Missouri and all that, I've gone and visited Jesse James' grave. I've visited famous graves and stuff just to see. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I have no problem going to a grave. I think it's there to remind us. So, if you go to visit a loved one, yeah, they're not there. You got to know they're not there. You're not going to have. It's like when you hear about investigations and stuff at graveyards. I think that's mainly not the people at the graveyard. It's other forces around. Yeah. Because their energy is already gone. Why would they hang out at a graveyard? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I completely agree.
So I still enjoy graveyard. I think it's awesome. I love it.
Right.
I'm that creepy kid.
Nothing wrong with that. Let's do another one here. Bruiser and Cruiser. Ooh, you got in first there. Look at that.
I did. Look at that. Top billing.
Cool. My wife decorated our Christmas tree the Friday after Thanksgiving, After that evening, we had a few friends and family over to eat leftovers, enjoy the extra long weekend. My wife was sitting on the couch, and I was in the kitchen when out of the corner of my eye, I saw our Christmas tree begin to shake. I think I read this last week, but I'm going to read it anyways again, because Bruiser didn't get to hear it. My wife heard the tree and ornaments shaking and yelled for our 18-month-old daughter to get away from the tree. I picked up her and our 4-year-old son and explained that I had both the kids near me, nowhere near the tree, but I saw the tree shake. My sister, who had recently moved, explained that since she had moved, she believed that our mother, who had passed, had migrated to our house, not knowing where her new house was. She also told us that when she recently saw a medium, she said that our mother would visit our dining room and stare out our kitchen window into the backyard frequently. I mentioned to my sister that sometimes while sitting at the kitchen table, a weird tradition in our family to pass down kitchen tables, it would feel like mom's dog would come and plop down on the table. It would feel like mom's dog would come and plop down and the table would shake a bit. She said this confirms what her medium had told her, and she had not mentioned anything about the table to us. Is mom home for the holidays, in quotes? I sure like to think that she was watching the kids, as that was her biggest concern when she passed. Anyways, gents, keep up the good work. Bruiser, next time you're in KC, I'll show you some barbecue and some of our many local breweries. Cruiser, same goes for you. Stay well and come visit. Hopefully I'll be able to find some time to submit some more Parashares, as the wife and I own a small brewery in Texas that, per the local paranormal society, says is haunted. So I know what Mally and I answered to this last week. I want to ask you, is it mama or is it something else?
I think it is mama, because historically speaking, Halloween is always a time when the veil is thinnest. That's just what we've all known. But why wouldn't Christmas time be another time? It's a very religious holiday, you know, and I'm talking all faiths celebrate some sort of winter solstice, you know, whether it be Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. Why wouldn't the veil be thin then too? And if it is mama, you know, I think it would be mama, because mama wants to see the kids and whatnot. And what time to come see kids than at the holidays, when you know they're going to be excited and joyful and happy, and you know what I mean? Like, my kids, I miss them the most at the holidays. That's when I want to see them. So why wouldn't grandma want to come and see them, especially with as young as they are? And I think it's awesome that they own a haunted brewery. I would love to come to the haunted brewery in Texas.
Right on, right on. I'll tell you what I thought last week.
Okay.
I don't think it was mama shaking the tree. I think it was a dog.
Oh, that's a good point too.
Yeah, because why would mama shake a tree, one, and two, dogs always end up playing in the tree.
Yeah. So, and if their kitchen table already moves because the dog flops down. Yep. Why wouldn't the dog? I agree with that too.
Yeah. So that's what I thought last week. Let's see here. I think we'll hold the other story off for later in the program. Let's get back to our stories here, shall we? Let's start first of all with a little bit of AI news. Why not? We'll start
Nightmare fuel.
We'll start off a little easy. We'll start off slow, Bruiser, and then we'll build to a crescendo that'll make you want to hide in your house for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but it's AI, so we can't hide.
That's true.
Yeah, AI will find us and kill us.
That's right. It's everywhere. A young Chinese woman who lost her eye in a serious car accident dedicated her life to creating prosthetic eyes that glow different colors. Okay, that's a little creepy.
That's not creepy at all.
No. In 2013, Xia Tong lost one of her eyes in a car accident. She was only 18 at the time, and she had it replaced with a prosthetic eye. See that music in the background just makes it creepy. She had it replaced with a prosthetic eye. Instead of losing confidence in herself and shying away from people because of her appearance, the young woman decided to turn her situation to make herself stand out. After studying to become a prosthetic eye technician or an ocularist, I bet you didn't know it was an ocularist, did you?
I did know that because I know PCO.
Oh, that's true. You do. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Zia Tong started making all sorts of unique prosthetics for herself, which she showed off on social media, slowly building up a loyal following. Okay, even though she's a gorgeous girl, tell me this wouldn't freak you the F out if you two of you were in bed.
Nope.
Yeah.
That if no one's swiping right on that.
No.
And yeah, right. She's a very beautiful woman.
Yeah.
But that also shows she's either demonic or a robot.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's a Terminator. The minute she shows up and her eye starts glowing pink,
Yeah.
or red or blue, yeah, that's when I think we're going to have a discussion. Zia Tong is perfectly capable of making classic prosthetic eyes that are almost indistinguishable from real ones, but she's best known for her bionic eyes and quotes that light up different colors and even flash at the press of a button. Short videos of her trying out some of these unusual prostheses have been going viral in China, and she recently got the attention of mainstream media as well. Oh, the red one is just... Oh, I'm going to show you this in a minute, Bruiser, and you're going to...
I'm waiting for her to say she put a mag light in one so that it's serious night vision.
Yeah, really. The 28-year-old woman told Beijing News that she got into making prosthetic eyes as a way of helping people like her deal with confidence issues. Oh, so you're just going to scare the crap out of all of us who have seen Terminator.
Yeah, because if she closes her eyes, it's still going to flash through her eyelid.
Right. She had met a lot of people who had become isolated or had low self-confidence after losing an eye, and that had inspired her to become an ocularist and create better prosthetics. Some people want realistic prosthesis, but some, like Zia Tong herself, use their disability to make themselves really unique by incorporating small LEDs in their prosthetics. This allows them to look like real-life androids or Terminator robots, and that's, according to this article, admittedly pretty cool.
Have they never seen a Terminator movie? That's not cool.
That's going to get you shot in some places. Zia Tong's story and her commitment to making better prosthetic eyes recently went viral in China, with most people praising her boldness and her power to turn a traumatizing, life-changing event in her life into something positive. Okay, now I'm going to show you something that's absolute nightmare fuel because of the look in her eye. Bruiser, take a look at this and tell me you wouldn't shit yourself if you saw this in a dark room.
Yeah, no, that would terrify me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good for her for taking a negative and turning it into a positive, but that's positively scary.
That is. Oh.
Like, that's a great Halloween trick.
It is. I bet if she dresses in all black leather and walks up to your door and says, trick or treat, you would be like, oh, fuck no.
You can have all the candy.
Yeah.
Just don't shoot me. Are you Sarah Connor? Nope. No, I'm not.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we can part as friends right here, and I am going to take a shotgun and shoot your head off. That's yeah.
Like, she should have more fun and like make them laser pointers so that like someone's in like class and they turn on the laser pointer and they're distracting.
And they're looking all over the place, doing the rolly eye thing, like Marty Feldman.
Yeah.
Oh God! And then watch
or like
the cat
I said, a
go
giant
nuts.
mag light.
Oh yeah, a mag light. Yeah, that'd be even better. Yeah, the do the rolly eye thing. Watch the cat chase the laser all over the room and end up bonking its head all over the place. That would be something.
That's why I'm not in charge of making prosthetics, because I just think of ways to screw with people. Even though that screws with people, because like you said, she could walk into a dark room and turn it on, and it's like, okay, yep, avoid that girl.
Yeah, oh boy,
she's single. You know she is.
Well. Yeah, because she scares the hell out of half of the male population who's seen Terminator. That's why.
Do you think she waits till they're intimate before she turns that on? And would that freak you out? Would you just, that's it? You go soft right there and you walk away?
I can't think there's too many guys that have a Terminator fetish.
No.
No. No. I don't know. God, I don't know. I just don't know. In the maybe I should see a psychiatrist. No, I'm kidding. Part 2. Back to the Future. A woman talks to her past self in a trippy conversation after training an AI chatbot on her childhood diaries. This is not going to end well.
No. Especially if you had psychopathic tendencies as a child.
Well, there's that too. Michelle Wang has created an artificial intelligence chatbot of herself as a child. This is not going to end well. She trained it to learn what she was like based on a diary from when she was young. Miss Wang used OpenAI language model Generative Pre-trained Transformer 3 to drive herself crazy.
So we have an angsty teenage AI bot out there somewhere.
Yeah. It says if we could talk to our younger selves, what would we say? What advice would we impart? And how would it feel? Boy, this just seems like Mindfuck 3.0. Well, one woman has an idea after she created an artificial intelligence chatbot of herself as a child by training it to learn what she was like based on a diary written when she was young. Creative coder Michelle Wang used source material from 10 years worth of entries and combined it with the OpenAI language model Generative Pre-trained Transformer 3 or GPT-3.
Look, it's got T3 in the title. Don't play with it.
Right. She told people on Twitter that she created the AI system so that she could engage in real-time dialogue with her inner child. This sounds like everything.
Let's go see a psychiatrist.
This sounds like everything wrong with AI right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you want angsty AI?
I don't know. And then arm it with something. Give it a weapon. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Let's give it laser eyes and a gun, and the personality of 13-year-old angsty, hate the world, puber breast, going through puberty. Teenage me.
And then give it the addresses of all your childhood bullies and your home address and watch it go nuts.
Yeah, I was a dick when I was a teenager. I do not want to relive that.
I just can't imagine. Overall, this was a very trippy but also strangely affirming, healing experience, she went on to say, but I didn't realize that I had access to using real data from my past self-allowed.
From else is healing? Calling BetterHelp or a therapist?
Yeah, it'd just be easier to call a therapist. From my past self allowed me to connect with her in deeper plus more tangible ways than I typically have, she tweeted. Conversing with younger Michelle reminded me of the parts of myself that have stayed constant through the years, but also of the parts that I forgot or buried as life went on. It was like holding a mirror to an unapologetic, more earnest and pure version of my own essence. Was it though?
You go through things in life to learn. Mm-hmm. The experiences that you go through in life teach you something. So you don't, if it's a bad experience, you don't go through the bad experience again. Why would you want to relive that? You've already learned the lesson that you can come of that.
Right. The person you are now is more pure than the person you were back then because you've actually been tested through the fire of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to say, well, I want to know what I was back then. Why? Because you can't go backwards. Especially when it's a teenage brain, which isn't formed. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, think about how when we were 16, we thought we knew everything, but we don't.
Right. You're not even close.
No.
She revealed that she had kept diaries for more than 10 years of her life and wrote them almost every day about what her dreams, fears, and secrets were. The content ranged from complaining about homework to giddiness felt from talking to my crush. Some days were very mundane, some rather insightful. Ms. Wang tweeted, after scribing a ton of journal entries and feeding them into the model, I got working responses that felt eerily similar to how I think I would have responded during that time. Ms. Wang said she asked her younger self about her worldview before allowing the chatbot to reply with its own questions. The specific interaction felt very similar to a normal texting conversation, as if I were texting my past self in real time. I felt like I was reaching through a time portal disguised as a chat box, she wrote. I was also surprised how accurately the model predicted my current stated interest. After lots of iterations and trial and error from decade-old journal entries, this made me wonder that maybe this path was actually already seated long ago in my psyche. Miss Wang highlighted 2 key interactions that were most memorable. She said, I told her that she was loved, cared for, and safe, the words that my past self always wanted to hear, she tweeted. It felt like I was reaching into the past and giving her a giant hug, and I felt it ripple back into the present. Well, here's the thing. A computer can't feel those things, or an AI chatbot can't feel those things.
No. And what you're feeling is that you're loved and cared for.
So if
you know what I mean? Like you're feeling something that you've been wanting to feel. You're just now coming to the realization that, hey, I feel this.
Right. So if you truly feel it, well, good for you. Then you finally feel it. But you're reaching out to an AI program and telling it it's loved and cared for. Okay, so that's projection. So you can do that in your own mind. You can go back and tell your inner child you're loved. Yeah. And you can do that exercise in a psychiatrist's office. Yeah. You don't need to tell an AI program that, because what's the AI program going to do? It's going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah. The AI doesn't care.
No. It's just an object.
Yeah.
You can tell that to a rock or a chair or a tree.
Yeah.
And you'll get more of a response.
I could tell Ziggy that. Yeah. I tell Ziggy all the time, you know, hey, Ziggy, I love you. You know, I know she loves me back because she wagged her tail.
Yeah. And she'll give you kisses and everything's good.
Yeah. But if I tell an AI bot that, the AI bot goes, love you too, Matt.
And that's it. Yeah.
You're so good, Bruiser. I love you.
You're a good guy. Give me beer. The other was when she prompted her younger self to write her a letter into the present day. This is where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it's projection.
Yeah.
Based on only a little bit of data you've put in there. So then it needs to fill the gap.
And it's data that you want it to hear.
Right. So it's
not data that, you know what I mean? Because like if I'm putting data in, I want to hear all the good stuff about me.
Right.
You know, and like you said, it's leaving gaps.
Right. And it has to project to put other things in there. So now you're putting things in your own head.
Yeah.
Yeah. While reading this, she said, I felt the rumination spirals, the ones that I fall into sometimes when I feel shame or disappointment, melt away a little, she said. That's because you're only hearing the good that you want to hear.
Yeah.
These interactions really elucidated the healing potential of this medium, of being able to send love back into the past as well as receive love back from a younger self. But what happens?
There's no love coming back. It's words.
Right.
There's no emotion.
It's just whatever you fed into it is coming back to you. Now, what happens if that AI decides it wants to spin it and send you negative stuff back?
Exactly.
Then it's playing upon your self-esteem.
Yes.
And you're getting cyberbullying from something that doesn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you think it's your inner child bullying you.
Right.
It's as simple as right now, you could take your phone out, you could record, Bruiser, I love you. You're a fantastic person. Everything about you is great. And then 10 years from now, playing that recording to myself.
Right. Right.
Because it's all I want to hear.
Right.
It doesn't mean that emotion's there.
Right. But you're almost better off doing that.
You are, yeah, because that recording will not manipulate it to be like, oh, you're a piece of shit, you're fat, you know. Yeah. Where the AI bot will do that eventually, because all of her journal entries couldn't have been positive. It couldn't have been, oh, today was a great day. You know, it had to be, my parents sucked. They wouldn't let me go sleep over at Susie's house. Yep. This boy, he sucks because he loves Susie instead of me.
Yep.
Well, that AI bot's going to take that and say, you know what? All men suck.
Yep.
You shouldn't be with men.
Yep.
And it's not because the AI thinks that. It's the programming that the AI has.
It's the data you put into it. The data you put into it is the data you're going to get out of it.
Yes. So she's just putting all the positive entries in there. Of course, it's going to come back positive.
Yeah, exactly. She went on to say the stuckness becoming unstuck, of finding closure with past guilt or stories that we had of ourselves. She later shared a tutorial for other people who create their inner child chatbot using GPT-3 after receiving a lot of interest about her AI experiment. GPT-3 is an autoregressive language model that uses deep learning to produce human-like text developed by OpenAI It requires a small amount of input information to generate large volumes of relevant and sophisticated machine-generated text. Anyone can use it, but it does require a lot of work, with a tutorial from Miss Wang included. Creative. Well, it's got. There's an article. Well, there's steps in this article on how to do it.
There's a key phrase there too that people are overlooking. It's machine-generated text.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your inner child texting you. Right. It's a machine that you are telling is your inner child, and it's text. I hate having arguments over text because you don't know what's behind those words.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
There's no feeling
There's no
or
emotion.
meaning. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you're interested in how to do this, it's a Daily Mail article. Just look up Michelle Huang, Huang, and with that name, look up what is the term here? It is look up AI chatbot Michelle Huang, an open AI language model. And it'll pop up in Daily Mail, or just look up Michelle Huang in Daily Mail and it'll come up for you. I'm not one to say whether it's healthy for you or not. I actually think it's probably healthier if you want to get in touch with your inner child, to do it through other means.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't think that it's healthy to. The other thing too is when you're using an open bot chat like that, it's so easy to be hacked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Someone literally can control somebody by doing that.
Yeah, and somebody can come in and corrupt your files. So,
yeah,
I don't know that it's the easiest way to do it. If it's something you want to get in on the ground floor of and just do it quick and get rid of it, that's fine. The other thing, Bruiser, that I worry about with something like that is somebody becoming addicted to something like that.
Yeah,
because then they really think they're getting that advice from their true younger self. Yeah. And they don't realize that is just AI. It's just something else. Much like some people get hooked on psychics and getting advice from the other side, someone may get hooked on this AI chatbot that they think is really their younger self. And all it is a computer program. And
eventually something negative is going to come through and they'll take it as gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
And it could end negatively because you've already got some sort of mental health issues. I'm not saying you have mental health issues if you're doing this, but if you get attached to it, like you're saying, find a human and talk to a human.
Yeah.
It's the best way.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked about it yesterday on True Crime Tuesday, and yes, a lot of you have emailed me over this story, and it is absolutely 100% true. San Francisco has passed in its city council the
beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end in San Francisco. They've allowed lethal police robots to become reality, and to use them to deploy robots capable of using lethal force in their police force. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted in favor of allowing police to deploy robots capable of using lethal force. After a fiery debate, the proposal easily passed an 8-3 vote. I'm surprised it was that close.
I know. There's 8 people that have never seen the movie Terminator.
Yeah. Or RoboCop or any of those movies.
Yeah, RoboCop. That's the one that I used yesterday because if you watch RoboCop, that's the whole thing, is letting police use lethal force, and the Ed 4000 bot kills everybody.
Yeah, yeah. The San Francisco Police Department currently has 17 robots that can be equipped to use lethal force. However, officials say they don't plan to give robots guns. That's never the plan, but it somehow always ends up that way.
And I love how they're like, we're not going to give them guns. But Tim, what are they going to give them?
Well, I'll get to that there, Bruiser.
I know. That's the part that I'm thrown by.
Instead, they plan to outfit them with explosives.
So we're not going to give them guns. No, we're going to give them bombs.
That's right. That can be used to breach buildings or contact, incapacitate, or disorient a potentially dangerous suspect. So here's looking at you, kid. Boom. Yeah, you can just be blown up. Officials said the robots would only be used when the risk of loss of life to members of the public or officers is imminent, and officers cannot subdue the threat after using alternative force options or de-escalation tactics. Supervisor Dean Preston, who is one of 3 people to vote no, voiced concerns that the robots could be misused. There is serious potential for misuse and abuse of this military-grade technology. Again, keep those 3 words in mind of this whole deal.
You're telling me that humans are going to misuse something?
Military-grade technology.
Yeah. So we're giving people some sort of weapon and they're going to misuse it? Come on, Tim.
That doesn't happen. This thing was meant to kill, Bruiser. It was built to kill.
Like I said yesterday, local man dies today because he locked himself out of his car and the robot decided to blow it up.
That's right. And zero showing of necessity is what it says. So there's serious potential for misuse and abuse of this military-grade technology, and zero showing of necessity was said in the meeting by Supervisor Dean Preston. A second vote on the policy will be held next week. If it passes again, it'll head to the desk of San Francisco Mayor London Breed, who has voiced support for allowing police to use these lethal robots. The mayor supports policy, and this is from the mayor's office directly. The mayor supports policies that allow police officers to quickly and safely respond to situations that involve a risk of violence to the public. And this includes tools such as live video or robotics technology. These tools should be available to peace officers to employ to save lives. I don't understand how explosives save lives.
I don't either. And I think everybody needs to mail a Blu-ray version of RoboCop and Terminator to that mayor.
I think so, too.
This is what happens when you arm robots.
Now, on top of that, Bruiser, off of robots with explosives, the American computer scientist who coined the term virtual reality is cautioning that extinction is on the table and has warned of tech's existential threat to humanity, talking about AI. So knows.
The guys that created another world are telling us, oh, hey, sorry, we've gone too far this time.
That's right. Jaron Lanier, the eminent American computer scientist, composer, and artist, is no stranger to skepticism around social media, but his current interpretations of its effects are becoming darker and his warnings more trenchant. That's a nice word. I like that. Trenchant. Lanier, a dreadlocked-free thinker credited for coining the term virtual reality, has long sounded dire sirens about the dangers of a world over-reliant on the internet and at the increasing mercy of tech lords, their social media platforms, and those who work for them. Nothing about the last few weeks of chaos on Twitter and the ever-increasing spread of conspiracy theory and disinformation has changed that, he went on to say. The current state of the tech industry is ripe with danger and poses an existential threat, he believes. People survive by passing information between themselves, the 61-year-old Lanier said. We're putting that fundamental quality of humanness through a process with an inherent incentive for corruption and degradation. The fundamental drama of this period is whether we can figure out how to survive properly with those elements or not. The exaggerated focus on Twitter in recent months, after its chaotic takeover by billionaire Elon Musk, follows long-standing concerns about Facebook and others, including state actors. He mentions psychological operatives working for Vladimir Putin and the Chinese Communist state apparatus. All of them are filtering or promoting information for their own gains. In short, the web is not a free market of information as originally envisioned. It is a game system, he said, being rampantly abused. There are all kinds of intermediaries, he said. They might be the people who own a platform, recently Elon Musk, or third parties who are good at sneaking an influence. The interveners can be varied. Some are official, some are revealed, others hidden. Some are competent, some are incompetent, some are random, like an algorithm that someone made but didn't understand. The stakes are high, he went on to say. I think extinction is on the table, but as an outcome, not necessarily, but a fundamental drama. If we can coordinate ourselves to solve the climate crisis, it's a fundamental sign we haven't become completely dysfunctional, he went on to say. Throughout his career, Lanier's focus has lain outside the ones and zeros of computer code. He helped create modern ideologies such as Web 2.0 futurism, digital utopianism among them. But Lanier is no longer a fan of how the digital utopia is coming along. He called it digital Maoism and accused tech giants like Facebook and Google of being spy agencies. And he's been brutally clear about what he sees as the consequences of overdependence on social media. In essence, you'll get both popular cat videos and civil war. That kind of sounds like a deal.
So wait a minute, humans screwed up technology? No.
I guess so.
Humans are using technology for their own gain? No.
No. In his 2010 book, You Are Not a Gadget, a Manifesto, that's a nice title, he warned of the dangers of web ideology and the hive mind that could lead to social catastrophe. But now his train of thought has launched off, if anything, in a more worrisome direction. In his latest thinking, Lanier draws attention to Harvard psychologist B.F. Skinner's theories of operant conditioning, or behavior controlled by its consequences, otherwise known as behavior modification, a term coined in 1937. In Skinner's studies, lab rats were subjected alternatively to electric shocks and treats to achieve a change in response. On social media, he says, we experience something similar. He said, I believe I see that people who are subject to operant conditioning online, meaning subjected to pleasant or unpleasant experiences, approval, disapproval, or being ignored. Such techniques can be manipulated online as part of what is euphemistically called engagement and the creation of addictive patterns for individuals, and then by proxy, eventually whole societies. Actually, he's got something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very much true. As we enter an era where nothing means anything because it's all just about power, intermediation, and influence, it's very hard to put ideas out and very easy for them to come across as not as intended, he said. It goes on for a little while, but I think, he's got a little bit of a point there. Yeah,
but he helped create this world.
Sure.
You know what I mean? This is almost like the Lawnmower Man, where the guy who created Lawnmower Man realized, oh no, it's learning and it's becoming evil. Well, yeah, you created this world and you had all the positive intentions, but then humans got involved. Mm-hmm. And humans find ways to take power. That's just what we do.
That's true. That's true. But then again, what do you do? Do you tear it all down to nothing and start all over again? You can't. People are too dependent on it. So you make changes slowly, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, you have someone that doesn't understand an algorithm and they create the algorithms. Well, maybe we need to train them better.
Yeah. Or it's a matter of trying to, the only way really to change people's minds is to make something either cool or not cool. People are very much behind trends, and they want to be trendy. They want to be cool. They want to follow the crowd. So,
and the trend right now is social media.
Yeah.
You need a life on social media. I hate it because social media is not real life.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
But so many people think it is.
Yeah. So in order to, change the culture, you have to change it from within.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's move on. 2 minerals never before seen on Earth were found inside a 17-ton meteorite.
Ooh.
Yeah. The minerals were found inside a slice of the El Ali meteorite, which was found in Somalia in 2020. 2 minerals that have never been seen before on Earth have been discovered inside that massive meteorite in Somalia. They could hold important clues as to how asteroids form. The 2 brand new minerals were found inside a single 2.5 ounce slice taken from a 16.5 ton El Ali meteorite, which was found in 2020. Scientists,
it's a huge meteorite.
Yeah, it is. That's pretty big. Scientists named the minerals elolite after the meteor. And oh my gosh, this is not a word. This is torture.
Why don't they make it easy?
Elkinstonite is how you say it. Oh my God. After Lindy Elkins Tanton, the managing director of the Arizona State University Interplanetary Initiative.
Why not just go with his first name?
Yeah, why not just call it Lindyite?
Yeah.
That would have been easier. The managing director and principal investigator of NASA's upcoming Psyche mission, which will send a probe to investigate the mineral-rich Psyche asteroid for evidence of how our solar system's planets are formed. Whenever you find a new mineral, it means the actual geological conditions, the chemistry of the rock was different than what's been found before. Chris Hurd, a professor in the Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences in the University of Alberta, said in a statement, that's what makes this exciting. In this particular meteorite, you actually have two officially described minerals that are new to science. The researchers classified LLE as an iron IAB complex meteorite, which is a type made of meteoric iron flecked with tiny chunks of silicates. While investigating the meteorite slice, details of the new meteorite or details of the new minerals Bruiser caught the scientist's attention. You could tell I'm not a scientist. It didn't catch my attention at all.
Lots of big words.
It is hurting brain. By comparing the minerals with versions of them that have been previously synthesized in a lab, they were able to rapidly identify them as newly recorded in nature. The researchers plan to investigate the meteorites further in order to understand the conditions under which their parent asteroid formed. That's my expertise, is the quote. How you tease out the geologic processes and the geologic history of the asteroid this rock was once part of, Hurd said. I never thought I'd be involved in describing brand new minerals just by virtue of working on a meteorite. The team is also looking into material science applications of the minerals. However, further scientific insights from the El Ali meteorite could be in peril. The meteorite has now been moved to China in search of a potential buyer. I didn't know you could. Of
course, they're going to sell it.
I didn't know you could buy a meteorite.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I wonder what the going price is. I have $5.
I think you can only get a slight slice for $5. In order to get the entire 16.5 tons, I think you got to have a little bit more than that.
Well, let's start a GoFundMe.
That's right. So they're in search of a potential buyer, which could limit researchers' access to the space rock for investigation. That's kind of sad, you know. If you're going to do,
I'll buy it. They can research it all they want.
Yeah. Well, you'll get a slice.
I just want the next mineral they find. They call Bruiserite.
There you go.
See,
Bruiserite. I like that. Yeah. And you can have
another asteroid called Bruiseroid.
Bruiseroid. Right. And Bruiseride, which would be EID. We'll just keep making different types of meteorites, and that way they can study them all they want.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I got $5.
$5.
Study it all they want.
Tree fitty. I got tree fitty on top of that.
Tree fitty. Oh yeah, we got $850. $850 for 16.5 tons.
That's right. You'll get all you can handle with that.
And they have all access to it as long as they name it Bruiserite.
That's right, Bruiserite. Two more stories in today's supernatural news. Oh, you know what? Let's one more. We got to do one more Parashare story here. Let me pull that.
Alrighty.
Pull that up here. Let's see here. By the way, we got two more stories. We're going to talk about an exercised home. We're not talking about the kind that gets physically fit. We're talking about the kind that's
it's a house that can bench press a lot.
That's right. We're talking about the kind that gets swallowed up by demons. That's coming up. And of course, we're going to talk about psychic animals that predict sports tournaments and the end of the year big things like the Super Bowl and things like that. We're talking FIFA tournaments, and I'll
see if I can get Bruiser and Ziggy to predict some NFL predictions.
Boy, you'd be rich if you could get Ziggy to start getting psychic.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just take my phone and put a logo on it, put Mrs. Bruiser's phone with a logo, and whatever one she chooses. We'll see if it works.
Boy, you make a lot of money. I'm telling you.
I'll try for Sunday's games. How about that?
Yeah, that's what you should do. You know what you should do?
Ziggy's Picks. We'll call it Ziggy's Picks.
You know what you should do? I'm going to rip this bit off from a weatherman up here in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
What you need to do, and you can film it on your phone, okay?
Yep.
Does Ziggy play fetch a lot?
Yeah, but she doesn't return it. She just goes and gets it and runs around in circles.
Doesn't matter. What you do, okay, so you take one ball and you put one logo of a sports team on one ball, one logo of a sports team on another ball.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you say, Ziggy, go get it. And then whatever ball Ziggy goes for, that's the winner.
Okay.
Okay. And just film it. And then we'll see on the different teams how accurate Ziggy is.
All right. When we're done here, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And I'll message you Ziggy's Picks.
Okay. Ziggy's Picks. And we'll see how accurate Ziggy is for that week. And it could be like 3 games, 4 games, whatever. I don't care how many games. We'll just
we do all of them. We'll do all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to work her.
We're going to work. Oh, wow. You're going to work.
She's going to earn her kibble.
That's right. She's going to earn her kibble for this week. All right. Good deal then. Good deal. So that's what we'll do. We'll see how accurate Ziggy is. And by gosh, if Ziggy is that accurate, well then by gosh, Bruiser's got a new revenue stream.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's how we'll do it. This Parashare story comes from Corey. He says, "Greetings, Cruiser and Bruiser. Today I'm bringing you the story of my first ghost hunt. It was near the end of September for National Ghost Hunting Day at the old Baraboo Inn in Baraboo, Wisconsin."
I've been there.
Okay. Things started for me almost immediately as some unseen hand tugged twice at my hoodie while we were getting introduced to each other. After scouting around for anyone that may have done it in the main bar area, if you know what I mean. No, I put that in there. And being satisfied that it was nobody among the living that did it, I started paying closer attention to my surroundings, which I probably should have been doing from the start. After the introductory video and meeting the investigators that would be helping us through the night, we broke up into 3 teams for the 3 main rooms. The group I was in started upstairs in the old brothel area, if you know what I mean. No, I don't know. I threw that in there too. And whoever was trying to get my attention must have followed me up there, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'll stop doing that. Once we started doing a spirit box session, it felt like something or someone sat in my lap. Well, they wanted your business, man.
Oh, it's a brothel.
If you know what I mean. No, I don't know what I mean there. Just kidding, Corey. I'm having a little bit of fun with you, buddy. Last I can hear, my window decided to expand. There we go. If you know what I mean. I should probably stop doing that. So something sat in his lap. After we spent an hour up there, we went down to the back bar area where I didn't think anything happened until I looked back through my videos and photos after I got home that night. He says he'll attach said video so you can see what I found. That's great, but it doesn't work on an audio podcast.
Yeah.
I might be able to attach. Let me see. Am I going to be able to attach it to the description? I might be able to. Last room of the evening was back to the main bar area where one of the lead investigators was doing her own spirit box session. Many voices came through, which was quite the experience. At the end of the night, everyone had an opportunity to go down to the basement, which was said to have a heavier feeling. I opted out but stayed near the basement area where they had a security monitor set up so one could watch everything that went on down there. It was here that I had my last experience of the evening as a huge shadow figure formed in front of the basement entrance, then disappeared just as quickly. Overall, it was a very interesting experience, and now I actually want to get into investigating haunted locations. It says the video attached is of a local medium attempting to make contact with any spirits, but what's interesting is what appears in the picture frame on the right side of the screen. Tell me what you think you may have seen. So I'm going to forward this to you, Bruiser, after we're off the air here. Okay. What I may do is, if I can, possibly what I may do, Corey, with your permission, I may email you back. With your permission, I will try to post it to our videos page on darknessradioshow.com so people can see what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My advice to him if he gets into the investigating is learn how to debunk stuff. So like he said, he felt someone sit on his lap. Try to figure out what a natural cause for that could be. He mentioned the shadow figure appearing at the stairs. Try to reenact that. Try to figure out the natural way before right away going, oh, it was a ghost. Oh, it was this. You know what I mean? Like that'll make his investigations. One, it's a lot more fun because you're trying to reenact something, and when you can't get it reenacted, it's like, okay, it adds a little more substance to what is happening. But that's my advice to him if he wants to get into investigating, which investigating is fun. It's a great time, especially when you get stuff. And the other thing too is, and Tim, you can back me up on this, don't expect something to happen every time you investigate. There's many times when you go to a location and you're there for 8 hours and nothing happens.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not.
Or nothing happens to you.
Yeah.
Which is the worst.
Yep.
Because everybody else is having experiences except you.
Yep. Sometimes you just get skunked. It's like a fishing trip, you know? Exactly.
Yep.
It's like going fishing. Sometimes you just don't get anything. So.
And be respectful.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you say you're going to leave, if you say, hey, if you do this and we're going to leave, and they do it, leave. Be respectful.
Yep. Exactly. Let's move on. A mom says living in the UK's most exercised home tore her family apart and destroyed her husband. Liz Rich moved into, is this Holfanog? It's an old farmhouse in South Wales. I hate the way they pronounce things in Wales.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's not English.
No, it's not English.
For being English, it's not English.
That's right. With her husband to raise their family, but they began seeing ghostly figures and experiencing terrifying supernatural phenomena. A mom spent 7 spooky years plagued by supernatural events in a terrifying farmhouse dubbed Britain's most exorcised home. Liz Rich claimed she was confronted by a menacing hooded figure and was left fearing for her life during the hauntings. She and her husband Bill moved into the home, which was an isolated farmhouse near the, I believe it's the Brecon Beacons, in South Wales in 1989 to bring up their family, according to the Daily Star. But the couple and their young children were quickly confronted by a series of sinister paranormal oddities, including energy surges, dead farm animals, and sightings of 2 spirits, an old woman who would watch the children play, and a terrifying hooded figure without a face. Seeking solace in the church, the house nicknamed Hellfire Farm was exorcised repeatedly. Liz reckons hundreds of times. But still the problems lingered, and Liz herself says she was even possessed in the kitchen of the property. Oh, that's scary.
Ooh, that's very scary.
Liz, now 63, said if you've never experienced anything like it, it must sound like we're making things up. But none of it was made up. None of it. It was so insidious and so gradual that we adapted to it. You could sense something before the real horrors came. Sometimes the house would level out, but then something would happen and it would become more claustrophobic and more oppressive, like an energy building up. We were living in an unreality, she calls it. When you came home, you didn't know what was going to happen. Liz's experiences were featured in a 1996 book by Mark Chadbourne named Testimony, and a new BBC podcast called The Witch Farm. In these, Liz talks about the farmhouse's long association with witchcraft and magic. She described living there as like being in a bubble. She continued, I would always try to look for answers, but the problem is when something happens that you can't find a logical explanation for. How can you be standing looking at a door with your eyes and it closes and makes a slamming noise? How can an oil radiator heat itself up when there's no oil in the tank? That's when I thought there was a serious problem. Liz and Bill's young children, Ben and Becca, began to see an old woman sitting in the corner of their nursery watching them play. Oh, that's just spooky.
That's just creepy.
And it wasn't just the children who were affected. Liz also saw the woman through a window in the house before she began to feel a second, more sinister presence there at the house. One passageway in the home became the focal point for the problems, and it was there that Liz was confronted by a faceless, shadowy 7-foot figure. It was menacing, strong, and sure of itself, Liz said. It didn't have a face, but it was in the form of a kind of human. I don't think it was a ghost, but it was something evil, something that had been around for a long, long time. Bill, who separated from Liz and died before the release of The Witch Farm, cut himself off and spent hours locked away in his studio. Liz said Bill was obsessed or possessed. He was also so involved and fascinated by this stuff that it got into his brain. He got so involved and enthralled with it that he went from being a really alive, good-looking guy to being a depressive alcoholic submerged in darkness. The house ate away at his soul. It took away his self-respect. He was drinking more, he was grumpy, and he became someone who was rotten from the inside out. It eventually destroyed him. Sad story.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Incredible.
Whatever came about the house? Does she say?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say. I think they're wanting you to tune into
to the podcast,
huh? Wanting you to tune into the podcast, which again, the name of that podcast is I lost it.
The Witching House, right? Isn't that what it was?
It's the Witch Farm. The Witch
Farm. Okay.
Yep. So I suppose you can find it wherever you get podcasts. So there you go.
The Witch Farm, there it is.
The Witch Farm. Finally, our last story here has to do with psychic animals. You know, Bruiser, one of my favorite times of years, whenever you get something like the Super Bowl, the World Series, or like right now, you've got the FIFA World Cup going on, and the psychic animals come out of the woodwork. And you always
this is where they make their money.
That's right. This is the time to be making hay or making dough. The psychic animals come out and they tell you who's going to win.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They even set up like the little tournament brackets. The one I love is the NCAA bracket of 64, where you really tax the animals and they have to pick each bracket and see whose bracket is best.
You're really making them earn their kibble there.
That's right. So the psychic animals predicting who will win the World Cup. Believe it or not, Tayo the otter is the newest one.
Oh, an otter, huh?
Mm-hmm. Tayo,
I heard they're pretty psychic.
They are. Tayo was praised for predicting Japan's recent win. Tayo the otter.
You know, because Tayo is fluent in English.
Yeah, well.
He literally stood up and went, Japan will win the World Cup.
Well, just that one win, that recent one.
Japan will beat Iran. Is it Iran? I think they played. I don't know. I don't follow the World Cup.
Was that what it was in the knockout round? Let's see in the story.
Yeah.
We go to London, where no FIFA World Cup would be complete without psychic animals predicting the winners, of course. And do you say Qatar? How do you pronounce it? Qatar? How do you say it?
Qatar? Oh, for Qatar?
Yeah. Qatar.
Where they're doing the World Cup? I say Qatar.
Qatar. All right.
Which I'm banning watching the World Cup, because did you hear what they did in Qatar?
No, what'd they do?
You're not? They banned beer sales at the World Cup.
Well, that's enough for Beer City Bruiser to ban FIFA.
I told Mrs. Bruiser, that's it. I'm done. Not watching the World Cup. She goes, "You've never watched a World Cup in your life." I go, "Now I have a reason."
Your slogan should be "No hops, no props."
Exactly.
Yep.
They said they're going to serve whiskey and liquor and seltzers, but no beer.
Doesn't matter. No hops, no props.
Yep. So I refuse to watch the World Cup.
All right. I don't blame you, buddy. I think I'm right there with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Now we have a reason why we're not watching it.
I don't like it because they cut into my TMZ.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big TMZ guy. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I like my TMZ. I turn it on and I get a bunch of guys running up and down the field, can't score a goal. If I want to see a bunch of guys running up and down the field that can't score a goal, then by God, Bruiser, what am I going to do?
Watch a Vikings game.
That's right, buddy. I'm going to watch a Vikings game.
Or a Packer game.
There you go. I meant to hit that sooner for the Vikings game.
But like Kirk Cousins, you can't hit your target.
There you go. Just like Kirk Cousins, you find it impossible to score anytime, you just throw it all around the field. If I want to see a bunch of guys jiggling their balls, I'll watch the Vikings on a Sunday. Bunch of guys playing with themselves and not getting it in the end zone. I'll watch Vikings.
We can't use our hands either.
Yep.
Who plays with their balls without using their hands?
The Vikings. Just saying. That's sports talk, supernatural style, right here on a Supernatural Wednesday. Cruiser and the Bruiser breaking down the sports talk. Talking about guys who can't use their balls.
Because of this psychic otter.
Psychic otter. Tayo. Tayo.
Tayo.
So, getting back to the story. So, no hops, no props for the guys in Qatar. 2022 has been no exception for the psychic animal thing. From clairvoyant camels, which, by the way, great band name.
Yeah, it is.
Clairvoyant camels, to mystic elephants and cryptic rats. Are there cryptic rats out there?
That's not what I'm thinking.
No. A range of animals, big and small, have tried their paws, hooves, and tentacles at predicting the scoreline. It all started with Paul, the psychic octopus. God love him. He was pretty good.
He was. He knew his stuff.
He did. The 8-tentacled icon put TV pundits to shame with an incredible string of correct World Cup predictions. From his
he
glass.
Just sat there and went, bloop, 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 bloop.
He went, bloop, this one. From his predictions from his glass tank at the Aquarium Sea Life Center in Oberhausen, Germany. I remember reporting on his win streak. It was incredible. The tentacled tipster, that's right, that's his nickname, had an incredible success rate. He correctly predicted 8 World Cup matches at South Africa's tournament in 2010, including Spain beating Netherlands in the World Cup final. By gosh, Paul the Psychic Octopus was amazing.
It's just too bad his gambling addiction got out of hand and he owed his bookie a little bit too much.
He did, yeah.
And he ended up on a Korean barbecue plate.
That's right. He became calamari.
He did.
Yep.
His last words were, bloop, bloop, bloop.
That's right. All did not end well for Paul's successor, though. Rubio the Octopus.
Yeah, Rubio.
Yeah.
Wasn't that good.
No.
He owed the bookies a lot more.
He did. Calamari came a lot sooner to your table with Rubio the Octopus, who became an icon in Japan for his 100% success rate in predicting group stage matches, including Japan's win against Colombia in the 2018 World Cup held in Russia. Rubio did not get the chance to make his predictions for the round of 16 after he was chopped up and turned into seafood. According to one local news outlet, we told you
he owed over 1 million yen to the Yakuza.
We told you calamari came to your table a lot sooner. We warned you before we read it.
His last words were blop, blop, blop.
That's true. Next, Tayo the Otter had good news for Japanese fans at this year's 2022 World Cup in Qatar, however you want to say it, correctly predicting Japan's group stage win over Germany this past Wednesday. From his home at the Maxell Aqua Park, Shinagawa. Is that right? Shinagawa. Yes. Aqua Park, Shinagawa in Japan. The Tayo was given 3 buckets to choose from. Oh, this is how they're doing it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. 3 buckets.
Yep. Japan was blue, draw was yellow, and Germany was red. He didn't hesitate in picking up his tiny football and placing bets on Japan. He was widely praised online for his exploits. They were going, go Tayo. And let's not forget another iconic star. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Marcus the Mystic Pig. Soon to become Marcus the Succulent Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In the 2018 World Cup, Mystic Marcus predicted a World Cup victory for England after selecting apples with the England flag on British morning television. That's how they did it with Marcus. You got to pick the right apple. See?
Yeah.
However, Mystic Marcus's fortune-telling record was shattered and when England was knocked out in the semifinals, which means
his exact words were, "Hey, I'm just a pig."
Yeah. After which they said, hey, you're just going to become a ham. Nellie the elephant from Serengeti Park in Hodengagen, Germany, Also meant business when she had a streak of 30 out of 33 matches correct for her predictions in the 2006 World Cup.
Good for her. Well, an elephant doesn't forget, you know.
That's right. Plus, she didn't forget the odds when she looked at the sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she kind of had an inside man.
Well, yeah. So it was 30 out of 33 matches in the 2006 World Cup, 2010 World Cup, the 2012 Euros.
Oh.
Over 3 tournaments. 30 out of 33.
Yeah, she didn't want to be perfect. That's how the bookies get you.
That's true. You got to make it look like you're not a shark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or that you're not in on the fix. You know what I mean? Camilla the Mystic Camel from Melton Mowbray in England did have good news for England. However, she correctly predicted the Three Lions group stage win over Iran at the Qatar World Cup. Her owners told the Sun newspaper in the UK that their clairvoyant camel is never wrong.
Never wrong.
Never wrong. So we're going to get Ziggy into this deal.
Yeah. We're doing NFL. We're not doing World Cup.
Yeah, we're going to do NFL. What do you think? Do we go all the way through the Super Bowl?
Let's start this week and see how well she does.
Okay, we'll start this week. We don't have delusions of grandeur here?
No, I live with her.
You live with her?
She hits her head walking in and out of the house.
Oh, well, maybe that helps with the psychic ability.
Maybe, but she fell off the couch today playing with her toy. Like she's not.
Oh.
I'm not going to put too much pressure on her.
Well, maybe she's physically clumsy because she's psychically gifted.
Sure, maybe. Or she's an 8-month-old puppy that hasn't really gotten control of her emotions yet.
All right.
She just recently stopped sliding into the wall.
Oh, right. Well, so you're saying there might be a little doggy CTE in her future?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, all right. So this week I'll let you pick the games, my friend.
I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to pull up the schedule of Mrs. Bruiser and I. Yep, and we'll see how she does.
How are you going to get her to pick? Are you going to do the tennis ball thing, or what are you going to do?
No, I'm thinking we'll do a logo on a phone, and see which one she nudges with her nose.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or hits with her paw or something.
Okay. So she's got to recognize one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's how you'll pick.
Yeah, then we'll write that down. That one, that team. Okay. So we'll just pick up. I'll get the logos of all 26 teams. Take out the ones that it buys.
Okay.
Hold them up.
All right. Excellent. So Ziggy will. We should have got a sponsor for this. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? We'll see how it goes this week, and I'll contact our sales team at Audio Boom and see if we can get DraftKings or somebody to sponsor it.
Perfect.
That's what we'll do.
Perfect.
We'll see how she does this week. If she does relatively well, we'll see if we can get a sponsor for it.
Yeah, I'm in. Like I said, right when we get done here, I'll have Mrs. Bruiser help me.
I wonder if they would sponsor that.
Especially if she does good.
Yeah, we'll see how she does this week.
Yeah.
That would be hysterical, by the way. That would be the funniest thing in the world if DraftKings would sponsor Ziggy's Picks.
It would. It would be great.
Ziggy's Picks sponsored by DraftKings.
We'll see what she does.
That would be amazing. Oh my God.
Ziggy. Mrs. Bruiser's like me? I'm like, nope, Ziggy.
Nope, Ziggy. Yeah. Mrs. Bruiser thinks she's getting paid by DraftPicks?
Yeah.
No. Ziggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
Put that dog to work.
Put that dog to work. See if it happens. Yeah. Psychic animals. We'll see how psychic Ziggy really is. So,
I don't think she's psychic at all because, like I said, she hits her head on everything.
You never know until you try, Bruiser. You just never know.
Yeah.
We may have a gimmick for the show.
It'll be perfect. Tune in next week. See how she does, listeners.
That's right. If Ziggy actually has some success here, we may have a gimmick, and we may have a sponsor.
I'll send them to you, and then I'll post them online.
I'm seriously, I'm getting a hold of Nick today. Like,
do it.
The minute we're done with this show, I'm getting a hold of Nick and seeing if there's an angle here with draft picks.
Perfect.
Not draft pick, with DraftKings.
DraftKings.
Yeah. And
or Chewy.
Or Chewy?
Chewy.com.
Oh.
One or the other.
You know what? We can just set
both.
We can set Ziggy up here. My God, yeah. But we could do the whole 9 for Ziggy.
I really want her to do well, but I really don't want her to do well because Mrs. Bruiser likes to gamble sometimes. And I don't want her taking Ziggy's picks as gospel.
She'll start, if Ziggy gets on a roll, she'll be taking it down to the sports betting palace. And
okay, so what's good? So what, there's 12 games, right? Is that how much?
You know what? Let's look it up real quick for people who are following along at home. Let's see if we, just in case DraftKings comes on board. Because, we are getting down to the end of the season here. And, I honest to God.
1, 2, 3. Let's see. So there's.
By the way, does Mrs. Bruiser know that the Rams picked up Baker?
No. Well, she just got home, so I don't know. I probably, because it's Baker. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
okay,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games total.
Yeah, here's the schedule for this week. It looks like. Oh, wait, that was last week. Where is.
Yeah, we're in week 14 to 18. So she's got. So let's say she does. I said what, 13 games, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games. So if she can get.
So if you're doing this week's games, Raiders and Rams are tomorrow.
Yes.
And then you've got your Sunday games. You've got the Jets versus the Bills. You've got the Browns versus the Bengals. Texans are taking on the Cowboys. My lowly Vikings. I'm going to be interested in this. The Vikings are at Detroit, and believe it or not, the Vikings are underdogs in this game.
Yeah.
The Eagles are taking on the Giants, which should be a good game as well. Some tough matchups this week. Ravens at Steelers, Jaguars at Titans. Chiefs are taking on the Broncos. Carolina Panthers are at the Seahawks. Buccaneers are taking on the 49ers. Another tough game this week.
That'll be good. Yep.
Dolphins at Chargers this week.
That'll be good.
And then the Monday night game is the Patriots and Cardinals. So some good matchups this week to watch. Packers have a bye this week?
Yes.
Oh, they need it desperately.
Yeah. They're hurt.
Yeah.
They're hurt.
Are the Bears on a bye as well?
Yes.
Wow. That's a late season bye.
Yes.
But both teams need the bye this weekend. So they desperately need a week off.
And then the Washington Commanders have a bye.
Yeah. Well, they need Chase Young back, so they need that extra week.
Yeah.
We'll see how.
I'll send them to you, and then I'll post them online. We'll see how she does.
And here, send them to me. I'm going to put them up on the blog at darknessradioshow.com so that we have.
I'll put them up on my
picks.
social media so people can see it.
Yep. And we'll see how accurate Ziggy is. I can't wait. And in the meantime,
this is gonna be fun. Yeah. Hopefully, I can get her to focus enough. Mrs. Bruiser and I will have to figure out how to. Because I'm thinking hold up the 2 phones she'll choose, but then we might have to do something with a ball or a.
Maybe.
We'll figure out. Mrs. Bruiser's smart. I'll talk to her. She's.
Yeah.
So tune in next week for Ziggy's pick. See how she does.
Right. We'll see exactly how she did. And in the meantime, I'm getting a hold of our sales team over at Audio Boom and see if we can't get DraftKings involved in this deal. Yeah. And see if they can't sponsor the bit.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah. That would be something. That'll be something. I can't wait.
Thank you, Psychic Animals.
That's right. Thank you, Psychic Animals. And we'll see if we don't have a psychic animal under our roof as well, because that would be something else. That would make my year, to be honest with you. If we discovered
if she hits 4 or 5, I'd be impressed.
You know what? If she hits
out of the 13,
if she hits 4 or 5 out of the 13, we got a bit.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
We absolutely have a bit.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, we've got a bit at that point. Folks, on tomorrow's show, it's a tribute show to Linda Godfrey, who unfortunately passed away last week. Of course, Linda is the author of The Beast of Bray Road. She was the one who discovered The Beast of Bray Road in Kettle Moraine in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, passing away from, as I understand it, the way it was reported on social media, passing away from complications from Alzheimer's disease. Tomorrow on the program, as part of the tribute show, Jay Bachochin will be on along with Lee Hampel and Sanjay Singhal. All three men were mentored by Linda Godfrey. We'll talk about Linda's life, about her research into cryptids in general, Bigfoot, the Beast of Bray Road, the Wolfman, and we'll talk about Linda's legacy. And we'll also talk about Finding Jay and Finding Jay 2, the two movies that are out there on Amazon Prime, one of which, or both of which, Linda is featured in. They were officially Linda's last projects that you can see Linda in. And you can check them out before the show tomorrow. So that is tomorrow on Darkness Radio. Bruiser.
Yes, sir.
You are going to be back in the old home state this week.
I am.
Yeah,
Green Bay, Wisconsin on Saturday at the Watering Hole. So come out, say hi. Let's have a beer.
It's not just you, though, my friend. Who else is going to be there with you?
Brian Malonis will be with me. We're tagging. We haven't tagged in a long, long time, and it'll be fun. Bounces are back together. Going to cause some havoc in the good old cheese state.
Sounds like a plan, my friend.
Drink some beer, eat some cheese curds.
And another reminder, Bruiser is on Cameo. So if you have somebody who is having a birthday, maybe you got an anniversary coming up, you got a special occasion, of course the holidays are coming up, and you want to spread a little BCB love, send the BCB your way. Look them up on Cameo and send a message from our own Beer City Bruiser. Do that. Another reminder as well, Granite City Comics has that special, that dealer variant Walking Dead #1 is available right now for Darkness Radio listeners for just $5.
Oh, it's a steal.
That is a first print #1, not a reprint, a first print dealer variant Walking Dead #1. You're not going to find it anywhere for $5. We'll have the link in the description of this program. Go get it, folks. There's only a few remaining. So go get that book right now and enjoy. Give it away for a gift for the holidays. Keep one for yourself. But when they're gone, they're gone.
Yep.
So go get it right now. That'll do it for right now. We'll see you tomorrow for the tribute show for Linda Godfrey. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us today for the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.